how are they supposed to set up all this stuff? There is a lot of money floating about, isn't there? And there's a lot of money going into the different countries in the East. And a lot of that money is made in two parts. One part is cash, with foreign exchange taking place. And the other one is the stock exchange. So they use a lot of the briberies that they've given them to go and buy a lot of local stocks. So they have a lot of stocks in there. And they've also bribed them, bring in our controllers in there because we want to manage you, and then you can come and buy stuff from us. So they have the big banks in there, investment banks. They have Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, various others who have given them supposedly access to the West, so that they don't have the financial barrier of taxation and all that stuff. Now the problem with that is they've given them internal access to the Asian countries. So now they've given them internal access to Asian countries. Now they are able to move the funds in the same way that they did in the East, in the West, in controlling the currencies, in controlling the stock exchanges and all that stuff. So they are using the same software that I used to work with before to go in and control the prices, control the exchanges, control the foreign currencies.
Okay, so the hits on the stock market in China recently,
yes,
have been orchestrated, you're basically saying.
Yes. And the orchestration is as follows. They use a lot of, for example, the reduction of the price of gold and oil to keep certain governments in stress, like the Russians. Mm-hmm. So they are out. The Chinese are happy because cheap oil comes to them. But what they've done to the Chinese is, for example, they've went in and devalued a lot of their, they overbought their shares, so they're going to go up, and then they are dumping it into the market. But then the Chinese are being worried, they're pulling back. As they pull back, everybody else in the area, in the region, are also worried and pulling back, and it's causing a lot of flight of funds going out. Who's orchestrating the flight of funds? They are. The banks, the gold
Zionist-run banks.
Yes, the Zionist bank funds, because they are advising them. You know, in this side you have the credit rating is this, the risk rating is this. So why aren't all of them just going to the West, the flights? Why aren't the funds all flying to the West? Because in order to do, if they fly to the West, that's it, the stories, and there is no more collapsing of all the other currencies. So to stop the flight into the West of the funds, they're pushing up and down, everything that's happening in the West. And it's just going up and down without any meaning. If you've noticed, there is not much sale, there is no volume. All they're doing is they just shift the price up, they're using high frequency trading.
Yeah.
If the funds are supposed to go to the West, when you put it in the risk engine is saying there is a lot of volatility in the West. So stay in the East. So country number one is very weak. Very low, economy. The second one is a lower, slightly higher and slightly higher, slightly higher. Country A is now pushed, these currencies is collapsed, the stock exchange is collapsed, so it flies away. They help it to fly away to country A, to country B and C and D. They do the same thing already with B and C and D. So B comes in, it's already got flight coming in from A, it's now being pushed up and down. There is another flight, that is too unstable. Then A and B now flight into C and D. And it just goes on like this, A and B and C.
Okay, like, I understand, but then do they end up in the West?
No, they end up as a snowball effect going to the bigger economies in
Right.
the East.
The bigger economies in the East.
Yes, because in the West they keep shifting it up and down, up and down.
Okay, so they're
To make
okay,
it volatile.
But once they're in the East, you kind of have like a bubble then in the East.
No, it's a collapse because so much funds are coming in and out, and the currencies is being devalued so much.
So you're saying like a domino effect in the
Exactly.
East.
All the domino effects going in, collapsing the smaller stock exchanges, going up and up and up until it hits China.
All right.
Once it hits China, they can't hit Russia yet because Russia has isolated a lot of itself, but it has not isolated itself enough from China with all the trade agreement that they have done through the BRICS.
So they're aiming at Russia through China.
China, get rid of it, and Russia as well. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because Russia is out of control. They cannot negotiate with it.
Okay, but then what?
So my question is, why aren't they coming to Europe? There is a clown there called Greece. They don't want to resolve Greece.
Right.
Because all Greece does is makes Europe up and down again.
Yes.
So that increases the volatility in Europe. So now you have American volatility going up, the two largest markets. European volatility is going up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes the stagnant flying funds just burn its way through different economies.
Okay, but what's the end result?
The end result is taking down of those economies and the governments, and the removal. Once the government is taken down, the new government is established, new government is mandated to get rid of the families behind it.
Get rid of how?
Physically, literally, chop their heads off.
Really?
Literally go and destroy it.
So this is the Zionist plan?
Yes.
And the fact that you're saying this on our video with such clarity
Yes.
is not a problem?
The plan is already in motion.
Because it's published through the Taylor Swift
Yes.
video, and that's the way they read
Right,
it.
right. Why are they publishing it?
Yeah.
Okay. In order for them to do it, they have many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, they have to have magic. They do magic.
Yes.
So when they do magic, part of the magic is the receiving part of the magic have to have a guilt part added to them. And one of the guilt is, I have warned you.
Yes.
You didn't take position,
Exactly.
right position. So they are guilty of not taking their right position.
Yes.
So they are producing this one out,
Okay.
these videos.
Yes.
So these videos, I'm now able to interpret it because if they come against me, they are destroying the concept of the magic that they are trying to push through. So because they, for example, they did it in Katy Swift before, Katy Perry before.
Uh-huh.
And when I came out and said exactly what are the different messages, right, they can't come against me because that destroys the magic. And now they've published it in the public arena in order for the guilt to be attached to the other side.
Yeah.
If I now declare it, if they come back against me, then they are basically destroying their own. Right, that's number one. Number two is because their side need to have, the attacking side, need to have a slogan and need to have a plan. They need to have a war footing. And in order to do a war footing, they have to declare war. And that's why when you used to go in the old wars, they used to have the spears and they used to go, hoo, hoo, hoo. They chant the same songs. Why are they doing that? Why are they chanting the same songs? Mm-hmm. Because that puts them into the war mentality mode as a single unit.
Sure.
So the Taylor Swift video is working for the attack side, for the attacked side to receive the attack, and for the attacking side to have a chanting war theme against them, with them.
Right. Okay, but what people will say, and a lot of people have said, they thought that the BRICS were going to save the day in the financial world, right?
Yes.
And this is obviously starting to be overturned, this notion. And so what will be the fallout in terms of the BRICS? In other words, this war, other than hitting them financially, is there another way in which they will hit them?
No, basically then there will be no people opposing them on the world scene.
Opposing the Zionists?
Yes.
Okay. So they've already launched this.
Yes.
It's in the works. They've been planning it for quite some time.
Yes.
They've infiltrated the BRICS,
Yes.
which that actually became evident to me when I started to see some of the major players when they announced this BRIC bank and that BRIC bank. Then you look in their history and they basically work for the other side and so and so. So it's very interesting, and I think that this will be an eye-opener for quite a few sort of people. I'm not going to term what they go by, but in terms of Planet X, because this is another layer that we bring in.
Yes.
Do you want to go there now?
Well, Planet X is a deadline for which they have to do all stuff, because afterwards they lock down everything.
Okay, is this date that is in the Taylor Swift video, which is the 10th of December, I think? Isn't that, I see it in the video. I see an X and what looks like December. They have some faded out letters and, okay.
It can be interpreted whichever way.
Okay, so at some point in the near future, is that something to do with Planet X also because the X?
No, what they have done is when they do everything, they put it through the mind of what they call the what's it called? Computer, not computerized, but the artificial intelligence.
Right.
So they basically then go and monitor and profile everything, and they go through the war scenarios. So after they went to the war scenarios, they are able then to say, we are able to achieve certain things at certain times.
Right.
And after they do their test run, and the test run was about a month ago, when they hit 3 or 4 of the largest and the top officials in China. And they bankrupt them within 1 week.
Yes.
So that was a test run.
Okay.
After the test run went in, that was okay. They removed some tweaks, tweaked everything. Now they've gone for it. The idea is that before Planet X the whole saga comes in, they have already taken control of all the other side, and there will be no opposing person as they come up again.
Okay, but what will be, because you've talked a lot about Planet X in our last interview.
Yes.
And now you see where we're at now.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what new information, how are you looking at some of the things you saw?
Yes.
And seeing them differently? Are you seeing them the same?
No, what's happening is extra stuff.
Okay.
And the extra stuff is, there is something called timeline, yes?
Yes.
And in the timeline, there is a deadline that before Planet X comes, which will be now, I would think, my estimate now is 40 days after it hits in Ramadan, 40 days later. So
Ramadan is in May.
Ramadan ends
2016.
ends the first week of July 2016.
Oh.
First week of 2000 July, approximately 7-8 days into July. Add 40 days to that. Guess where it falls? It falls approximately 18th of August. Guess what happens a year before 18th of August 2016. What happened in 18th of August 2015?
Which was?
Swiss Indo, if you've heard of them. The one that says we will give money to everybody else around the world with all our gold, and damn the other financial system. Here is our new financial system coming in. They were pushing all that stuff in. They gave a deadline, 18 of August 2015. And when they asked why 18th of August 2015 as the deadline for government to take, they said it's because for our safety. when you look at what they're doing, you realize that they were doing the world government transportation in and out of the planet. Transport. So they were like the merchants, the interplanetary merchants going in with all their funds, and now they are stuck what to do with the funds, and they have to then state that they were not in the wrong being with the world government doing all these bad stuff, including lately with their logo having they had like, we sell wheat, we sell vegetables in plants, whatever. They used to have a cow as part of their sales logo. They changed that and they put a human face in there, which meant they dealt in slavery. Now, if you ask how did all the people got transported to all these places in the planets, like 700,000-800,000 people in Mars, who was transporting them? You have merchants like these who are already having the ability to use these crafts. Mm-hmm. So they put their logo in. And guess what? They said, we are already working with the Committee of 300, which is the world government.
Right.
And they added to the logo. What? Human trafficking. Mm-hmm. Right? Because they have done that, and there's a lockdown on a planetary level against the whole solar system, against all these ETs, they need now to justify themselves. So they said, okay, here's our money, let's help everybody else around the world. Oh, by the way, for our deadline, we have a deadline. The deadline is 18th of August 2015, after which we will not feel safe. See you later. So the 18th of August, nothing happened. The governments did not take their certificate support, which was supported by, in my opinion, they do have stuff, they do have a stash, and nobody accepted them. So that's a very interesting, you get these things as you go through why different people stop at certain times.
Okay, but they chose the 18th of August, and nothing happened. They weren't able to launch this. No, they stopped. Thing. And then, but why? So why are you saying it was an 18th? Why it was 1 year from the 18th of August 2016? What was that point?
Because in order for you are a merchant working interplanetary, and you are seeing the Planet X coming, so you want to lock down your stuff, your business.
So that was just their deadline based on the Planet
X. They gave themselves 1 year to sort it out.
Okay, but
that's a small. I mean,
all right, yeah, but does CERN have something to do with this as well?
Right, CERN is. I'll talk to CERN about that.
Okay.
So, in the timelines as well, I have had lots of evidence, physical, that as I would call them a controller, which you call them God, whoever is managing humanity at the benevolent level, have made it into the plan so that nothing, no questions as far as validity or otherwise, will remain prior to or as the Planet X comes in, when everything is shut down. Everything has to be resolved by then, as to who are the good guys, who are the bad guys. So now everything you're seeing is accelerated. Every day, 2 or 3 or 4 things coming out. It's as though there is a rush for the deadline.
Yes.
And that is for the simple reason that the timeline is now forcing a deadline on all issues to present themselves to humanity as to whether they are the good side or the bad side. Uh-huh. So even if you decide not to do anything, the circumstances around you will change to put you into position of showing you people who you are.